Yeah, this is just a quick repair on some knee pads I've gotten from my surplus dealer. These were or are actually brand new, I guess, because there's not a single scratch on them. And everything was basically perfect with them until I gave them a good wash and dried them. And as I was picking them up from the drying line, I ripped open the zippers here, or velcro. It's in English it's velcro. I ripped open these velcro tabs. I guess with this one, this is like a bit stressed. You can see already. But yeah, with this one, I actually ripped it open. I broke it after washing. I was super stoked about having like basically brand new surplus stuff, and then the first time I pick it up from the drying line, I actually ripped it to shreds. I'm going to figure out whether I'll add a strip of webbing or just try and zigzag stitch this part in again. We'll see. I'll try out. And I think that was two pieces. Yeah, here we have some stress marks as well. I mean, the Velcro feels really good, really nice, and it's apparently too strong for its own seams. Yeah, here we have another little piece where it's ripped open. And you can see when I put my finger behind it, it's actually straight ripped out. So for this, I think I'll just go zigzag around the corners of this Velcro. And oh yeah, here it's open as well. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, first of all, I feel like every time I say, hey, this will be a quick repair, it takes like 3 hours or something. I've said through this that I wanted to basically zigzag around basically this inner seam here. This is the original seam, like here. And I tried to zigzag around. However, sewing through this, like there's a thin layer of foam inside here, and also this like very elastic, weird, material, elastan in German, elastane, something like that. I'm not quite sure. Maybe put a subtitle there. However, trying to sew through this, my sewing machine basically it skipped every other under thread knot for the zigzag stitch, which resulted in basically a clear or a straight stitch like up there, or some tries with that. And yeah, there's several others. However, some seams then started to kind of work, but not really. Yeah, you see it? I mean, it's not straight, but it's not really zigzag working. And it kept missing knots or stitches. And like the way this looks, where like the yarn basically falls apart or goes into its singular strands, and basically starts to form like a wig, like a very knotty mess, like fraying out terribly, and also doing that around the needle, which resulted in the upper thread like starting to form little knots around the needle, making the machine not run anymore. And I had to cut and put the thread into the needle's eye over and over and over again. I spent like over an hour on that. Trying to sew several parts, and eventually I just looking where else I tried it. I tried it in some places and it all looked like this and didn't work. And there's like, here's like a whole nest of knots on the under yarn as well. I tried sewing it this way. First of all, I started out that way, this side up. Then I started sewing this side up. It didn't work at all. I even figured that I had the wrong size of a needle in for the thread. And then I actually Googled which kind of thread this is, which is 150 denier, which is the amount of grams per 9,000 meters of yarn. And what I needed was the TEX number to determine my needle strength. So TEX value, TEX, is actually 1,000 meters, the amount of grams per 1,000 meters of yarn. So if you know what your denier number is, my denier number for these yarn spools here is 150 denier. Which means that divided by 9 is my TEX number, TEX number, which is 16.6. So yeah, I went with values. I had values for 15 and 30. So I went with a value for 15, which would be a number, a needle size number 7010 to 8012, 70/10 to 80/12. So with my needles I had around here, I figured it would be a 70 to an 80. I checked my other machine, which was always running the same yarn, and it has an 80, size 80 number from a needle size 80 from Singer inside. So I put the same needle in here because conveniently enough I found another one of these in my spares box. And in case you have a used sewing machine or buy a used sewing machine, always check your spare needles and roll them around on a table or something and see if they are bent, because often those spare boxes are basically just the little trash bins that people use. Because every time, like you sew, for example, on a metal zipper or something, basically the needle bends and you can throw it away because it will cause massive problems and ruin your seams and everything. So yeah, lucky me, I found a good needle. I have a Singer size 80 in here now. Perfect for this yarn, theoretically. However, it doesn't like this material because, as I said, no matter which way I tried sewing, I mean, my very first tries, I had only like really crooked straight stitching lines. Like, as I said, the sewing machine skipped every second knot, so the seam that came out of there was kind of a weird straight seam, but a pretty loose one. Like this here, which is like the very unclean, very messy zigzag stitch. This actually happened when I put the correct needle in, which is the size 80 needle. So here I have this, like, yeah, it is kind of a zigzag. But as I said, I had massive problems with knots forming and the thread ripping. And so eventually I skipped the whole sewing machine part. And I did like all of these, the important stitchings by hand, which I figured, like you can see up here, there's like this webbing, which is kind of used like an edge band or a seam band, which is like quote unquote the important parts, like that shouldn't rip out. There's this enforcement, this edge band, this webbing. And I just tried to stitch the velcro side, the male velcro side, the hook side of the velcro, straight into this webbing band. And this is the most ugly seam actually, because this is what was my first try, where I just simply put the needle in here, put the needle in there, try to pull it tight, and then did my 1 knot, 2 knot alternating stitching thing. Here you see the knots. This is the knot side. Which did work, and it's really rugged and solid. I mean, this is the 150 denier thread after all. However, it just looks really bad, like a terrible World War I veteran scar or something, like something you see in old movies, like something terrible stitching. This is my second try actually, and this here I did basically just put the needle in through the zipper, through the velcro and through the webbing part, fiddle it out through the back, trying to get the velcro here as well. There you can see where I went with the seam. You can see it on the tag here. Trying to go from velcro from velcro through webbing to the webbing on the back side. Pulled it through once, put it through a second time. And then I didn't pull it like on the first stitch. I didn't pull it like really tight, so I had a lot of overhang. like 10 centimeters or something. And then basically I did a double sergeant's knot to secure the start or the end of the seam. And then I basically did what I learned in like middle school, where I'm from, Germany, which is like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So basically on this side you make like, just for example, like a 5 millimeter step size, pull the needle through, and on the back side then you take a step back, so you go back like 2.5 to 3 millimeters, then you go to the front, switch it over, like pull it back through. Then again you go 5 millimeters forwards, 2.5 millimeters backwards, 5 millimeters forwards, 2.5 millimeters backwards, and you always alternate like 2 steps on one side, 1 step back on the other side, 2 steps forward on one side, 1 step back on the other side. So you're not knotting. It's not as secure as like this seam where I did like this array of knots. But yeah, I mean, this really looks terrible, and for what this should be, it really isn't the right thing to do, the right correct stitch, I guess. So yeah, this is how I did it here, like the alternating 2-step, 1-step method, or whatever. I don't know what it's called in English, but I guess it's like step stitching. It's what it's called in German, I think. Not quite sure though. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. For the other knee pad, I did the same thing, because either it was already ripped out. Yeah, here you can see it was already stretching to rip out, and here it was stretching, and here was stretching as well. And here, as you can see, it already completely ripped apart here. That was the worst spot here, where I did the terrible stitching. But yeah, never mind. In the end of the day, if you have this kind of knee pad, I'm pretty sure it always makes sense to secure like the Velcro to this webbing part. But mind you that with this O-ring, plastic O-ring up here, you really have to, it's really fiddly work, because you basically have to bend this back, pull the Velcro up, and then stitch it onto the webbing here. And yeah, it helps if you have some pinning needles at hand, so you can secure the Velcro before stitching. But eventually I just figured that simply starting to sew and holding it in place by hand was my thing, and easier to handle with easier to handle than those pinning needles. And yeah, eventually I poked myself like 2 times, but it's a good ratio, I think, for the amount of stitching that I did here. And I'm just happy that I'm done with these. And yeah, this is like Molly 2 knee pad repair or reinforcement. And yeah, as I said before, these are basically brand new when they arrived to me. When I got them, when they arrived here, they were in pristine condition, and simply like basically in a rush, quickly hanging them up to dry and hanging them only on these Velcro strips on the clothesline. Then pulling them off like quickly, basically just violently ripping these Velcros open. They immediately were damaged. So I mean, for actual use, it wouldn't matter that much, because this is actually the strip that holds it, that like holds the pressure to your knee. And here you have this. There's one elastic one, and one made of a solid 1.5 inch webbing here. And the other strips, like where I did the sewing, this is basically just to like put it on your knee first, and then you pull the other ones tight, and these actually hold the pressure. But still, like, if you just quickly open it or rip it open violently, and it immediately rips apart, and you immediately have some, like, yeah, you immediately have your tear damage here. It's pretty bad, I think, design-wise. I mean, knee pad shouldn't look like this, opening at once, basically. And yeah, Anyways, maybe anyone found this interesting. Someone asked me for more repair videos, so I'm trying to explain what I do and why I do. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.